Hello, I'm Nick Trott and I'm the editor of Evo magazine, and today I have with me Ryan, who is the assistant editor of denofgeek.com. Now Ryan, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're here today to talk about cars, chases, crossing the line, movies and more cars.
Now let's talk about The Italian Job. Now when we're talking about car chases, the car chase films, you cannot ignore the great Italian Job. So tell us about The Italian Job, why we love it and what's happened up to the point that we're going to discuss.
Right, yeah, Italian Job, 1969, since become a classic.
Yep.
Michael Caine's on superb slick form as Charlie Croker, the smooth criminal,
Yeah.
who takes it upon himself to steal, I think it's $4 million worth of Chinese gold from a bank in Turin. And to do this, he assembles a crew of expert drivers.
Yeah, chinless wonders.
Chinless wonders. 3 Minis, red, white and blue,
Yeah.
Cooper S's,
Yeah.
should add.
Yeah.
And they disable the infrastructure, the traffic infrastructure in Turin to create a jam.
Yeah.
And then they've got a pre-plotted course
Yeah.
through the city, which leads us up to this clip, which is on the roof of the Fiat building,
Yeah.
where they've got their track and their skid pan.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because a lot of car chases that we're used to seeing in films, it's all about the driver responding, reacting to scenarios and everything. But actually, The Italian Job, it's very much they have a plan, they have a route. You know, like you say, they've disabled the entire city traffic system. So we don't see much of that kind of instinctive driving. But even so, it's real precision driving, isn't it?
It is. It's like they've created a racing track for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and the main thing is that they've got to keep one step ahead of the police.
Yeah.
And in spite of the fact that they have something like 2 metric tons of gold in each Mini, they still remain very nimble.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it, how well those Minis move with 1.5 times the weight of the car in it. So, yeah. But that's from my side, from the car geek side of things. Everyone loves a Mini. Minis are fantastic to drive. They're brilliant to drive very, very fast. They're so well balanced. And what I love about the full chase in this film is that you can see that those cars are being driven to the absolute maximum. You see the way they turn into the corners. You can see how hard they're using the braking, and God knows how many Mini Coopers they actually went through. But yeah, the point where they kind of lead up onto the rooftop scene, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Because you sense that something's building, you sense that something's happening.
Yeah, and it leads up to arguably the most dangerous stunt in the film, which is the jump.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure on the geography, are we? I think they might have fudged that a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I've driven on that rooftop, which is now a hotel, and I've done a shoot up there, and you go up a corkscrew ramp, get to the top, you drive around. It's quite intimidating because you kind of, when you're driving around, you see the sort of tops of the other buildings, you think, I don't want to come off here. But I can confirm that to get off of that rooftop test track, you simply go down the corkscrew ramp.
You don't have to do a jump.
You don't have to do a, 60
foot apparently.
60-foot jump.
It's a 60-foot jump, and then the build, you can't necessarily see it. It's a shame they didn't get more coverage of that shot, actually, because you don't really get a sense of how broad it is, and also how much lower the building is they're landing on. It's something like 12 feet lower. Yeah. And apparently there were 600 spectators turned out, so they obviously knew that something big was going down that morning when they're going to do this stunt. And it's the first film that a former racing driver, Remy Julien, that's his first, and this kind of really put him on the map. Yeah. I mean, you should remember as well, so, you know, it's a really early car chase movie. It only came a year after the iconic Bullitt, you know. So for them to do this in Minis as well, you know, as you say, they're quite fragile cars.
Yeah, if there's one car you don't want to crash, roll, drive off the side of a building, mistime your jump so that you hit a opposing wall, it is a Mini. I think that's probably why the drivers kind of overcommit to the jump as well. So you notice they hit the jump and they go up like this, and then they come flying through the air, and then you go, they actually clear the down ramp bit.
They notice that.
So they over jump it by must be about 30 foot.
And if you look closely at the white car, you can just see the suspension collapse. Apparently it did. They
just collapsed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, there's no suspension travel really on a Mini anyway. You know, so it's all in the tyres. But yeah, I can imagine that it punched the full suspension through the car. And then of course they drove off. But that's an extraordinary scene, isn't it? Really. And the other thing as well, from from my side of things and thinking of the physics of a car moving in that respect, is that a Mini's, all of the weight in a Mini is on the front. The engine, the gearbox, the whole packaging of the car, it's all in the front. So if you think you take off, the car's only going to do one thing. It's only going to go down on its nose. And I think they just about landed it right. If they'd have over jumped it by another 10 foot, the cars would have landed vertically like that, and then they'd have flipped over onto their roofs. Now, even a Mini with a roll cage, you don't want it to land on its roof.
No, I can imagine.
The A-pillars are this thin, so the whole thing would just flatten down. So it's, I think that's probably why it's quite enjoyable from my side, is that there's quite a lot of jeopardy involved in this chase, So from all the carry-on kind of comic book vibe, where he grabs the chicken and everything as he's driving. So that scene is where you go, all right, this was a pretty serious gig here. So yeah, gotta love the Italian job, haven't you?
And also, it's notable for the fact that its hero never drives. He's basically the world's most charismatic backseat driver. You've got to love Kane for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a mega chase.